Hello everyone and welcome back to some more K-pop news. In today's video, I have news on how the first Korean trial between ADOR and Danielle has not happened. Also, I have news on how BLACKPINK Lisa is set to headline the opening ceremony for the FIFA World Cup this year, and also a whole lot of news like that as well. So with all that being said, let's get straight right to the video right now. Over this week, it was announced that ahead of the lawsuit for the first court hearing for the lawsuit between Adore and Danielle, it was announced that Adore has now hired four new lawyers for their lawsuit and that they had also put in a request to change the court hearing date. But I guess now that the court hearing trial has now happened for the lawsuit, I guess we all know what happened to their request because it was announced that as soon as Adore had put in their request to change the first court hearing trial date, the judge said that, nope, I'm not changing the date, and so because that, the first court hearing trial has not happened this past week as well. And when I say that the first court hearing trial was really embarrassing for the company's part, I really mean it because this past week when they had the first court hearing trial, similar to the last time that both parties had met, Adore has now failed to provide any evidence to prove on why they have filed this lawsuit in the first place. Also, that was not the only thing that happened in this court hearing trial because in this court hearing trial, the judge then gave the deadline date for both parties to submit their evidence in this court hearing trial lawsuit. And what I'm talking about is that it says right here. By agreement of both the judge and the defendant, ADOR is now required to submit its evidence plan by the end of May. After this was announced by the judge, ADOR then tried to delay the date to submit their evidence plans, and what I'm talking about is that it also says right here. ADOR requested an extension to June 5th, but the defendant rejected it, holding firm at the end of May. And now the new deadline date for both parties to submit their evidence plans is now set at June 2nd. And finally, the last two things that happened in this court hearing trial is that first off, it was announced that Adore is now required to clarify the term of tampering because it says right here. According to the defendant's counsel, tampering is not a legal term, it is a conceptually undefined notion. Adore must clarify and define this term by the submission deadline in order for the defendant to be able to respond to it. After this was announced, the judge then gave the next day for the court hearing, and the next day for the court hearing is going to be on June 11th of next month. Now look, this court hearing trial to me was so embarrassing on Adora's part, and the reasoning is because you're telling me that even after you forgot to submit the evidence for the first time, the fact that you forgot to submit it for the second time, man, that makes me so mad. Not the fact to mention that you had 6 months to provide any evidence to prove on what you're talking about to me makes me realize on how much of a waste of this lawsuit is. Because if I filed a lawsuit against somebody, I would have already had a bunch of evidence to prove my point about why I filed a lawsuit. But the fact that you have no evidence, man, that makes me so mad right now. Also, get this. I bet you that the next time that the court hearing trial does happen, and not even that, I bet you at the time that the evidence deadline date is supposed to happen, and I bet you if Door has no evidence still to that day, I bet you that the judge is going to overturn this lawsuit in Danielle's favor because I bet you that the judge is going to realize on how much of a time waster that this lawsuit is. For the next news that I have for you today, I have injury news for you because yesterday it was announced that three members of Triple S named Chaeyoung Haeyeon and Sulin have been involved in a minor car accident and they have now been advised by doctor to focus on their rest and to focus on the recovery process from this car accident. Now look, for me, as someone who does not drive a car, I can't imagine on how much shock that these three members of Triple S are in, and to be honest that, I'm just hoping that they did not get any major injuries, and if for some reason that they got any injuries, I'm just hoping and I'm praying that they can recover from their injuries sometime very soon. Now it's time to get into some good news, starting off with this news right here announcing that this year at the FIFA World Cup in 2026 in LA, it was announced that Blackpink Lisa is going to be headlining as a fan at the opening ceremony in LA. Now look, as a fan of Blackpink and as a fan of all of Lisa's solo songs that have come out so far, I'm very excited to hear that she is going to be performing as this event, and I'm very excited to hear and very excited to find out on what songs that she is going to be performing at this event this year. Now look, for the final news that I have for you today is that it has been announced that BTS will co-headline at the first ever FIFA World Cup final halftime show at the New York, New Jersey Stadium on July 19th. Now look, for me as a fan of BTS, I'm so excited about this and I'm so excited to find out all what songs that they are going to be performing here, and some songs that I can see them performing here include Dynamite, Butter, and even their newest title track song called Swim. But let me know down in the comment section down below. Are you also very happy and very excited to hear and see that BTS is performing at the FIFA World Cup final halftime show this year or not? But thank you so much as always for watching my K-pop news video, and don't forget as always to like, comment, and to also subscribe down below for more K-pop news like this one. Anyways, that's it for today, and I will see you next time. Bye!